I think it's clear after episode 12 of Spice and Wolf, we don't deserve this anime. Not one bit. Just look at the production alone of how they handled the lightning, the mixture of the lighting with the lightning, and this dark scene, the transformations, everything was just so well produced. But in a time where I really think anime fans are less about characterization, less about, honestly, just emotional depth, because there's so many shows that if you would throw them 5 years ago, would get way more buzz. But because there's not a big depth, because there's not this big, oh my god, I didn't see that coming moment, they just don't get talked about. They don't get appreciated as much. And honestly, Spice and Wolf is one of those shows that, while I can understand, can still survive in today's climate because it has a dedicated fan base, both because of the original anime and a dedicated source material reader fan base. At the end of the day, to see the level of quality and the development that both Lawrence and Holo are going through, and how you legitimately feel like they're building and bonding over these episodes, it's a style of storytelling and characterization you just don't really see anymore. It's a forgotten art in a way, is probably the best way to put it. And to see the passion that clearly this studio is putting in to something that easily could have just been half-assed. They casually just slap on a 12-episode anime, they call it a day, and you never see more. Just to see how much clearly they love the source. Like, this isn't some generic cash grab reboot. No. Like, even though I'm new to this anime, I can tell with the level of care put into the smallest details that this is a pure passion project. And it honestly reminds me of the Fruits Basket remake when they did that over 3 seasons. I never watched the original Fruits Basket, read the manga. I went into the new one and I just immediately could tell it was something special. And I get a very similar vibe to this. And honestly, had this been a 12-episode anime, I would have been able to leave this episode feeling quite satisfied, but I'm so glad it is at least a 2-core, and it'll be interesting to see how many seasons they might be able to do, because they're obviously not rushing through source material, but there's way too much source material to actually adapt it all, so it'll be interesting to see what they do want to do long term. But either way, this was probably my favorite episode out of the 12. Now, of course, I have full live reactions to all these Spice Wolf episodes over on Patreon. If you want to see my full link of thought to any of these episodes, it's going to be over there exclusively. So, first things first, I want to give major praise to the production of this episode. So, I am the type of person that I have difficulty seeing in the dark more than your average person. So, basically, any show that is dimmer, like, I have to squint in. I'm like, what the hell are you guys showing me? Now, granted, most anime specifically, I actually don't have this issue as much with, like, reality TV, like, live action stuff. It's easier for me to see, but especially when it comes to, like, drawings, the dark scenes, like, I feel like I'm looking at a black image half the time. And a part of that is because of my eyes, and the other part is because these damn studios don't know how to light things. The idea of having an entire situation that's literally in the dead of night, it's raining. When there's rain and there's a dark scene, you can't see shit in anime. I swear to God, half these producers don't know what they're doing when it comes to this stuff. I could see everything. I could keep up with the details, the colors on these characters, because it actually felt there was a form of lighting to keep these characters visible while still getting across it was a spooky nighttime scene. And then you add in that, like, purple, pink lightning strike in the sky, and I'm like, this is the coolest thing I'm seeing this week visually. Like, I legitimately like the lightning strikes that much. Using that as cover as she transforms, them galloping, just the attacks, and just that moment when Lawrence basically, I think it's from Lawrence's point of view, he assumes Holo gets the dog and then kills Nora, but it's actually just what he thinks might happen, so then he calls out her name. Just everything about that was just so well done. The emotion, the thought, the directing, it just felt like these are the types of episodes and scenes that if you read a source material, you hope to yourself, I really hope when it comes to this, they can nail the emotion that I got from reading paragraphs upon paragraphs of inner monologue. And absolutely, as an anime only, I can say that they did that for me in this episode. I got across and understood just the amount of emotion going through. And I think one of the things I really like about Lawrence as an MC, I feel bad for the guy because he has been getting dealt shit hands after shit hands in recent memory. The fact that he didn't even have to burn his wrist to free himself Holo would have been there. Holo bent the knee to that wolf. I thought we were going to get into a big brawl. He is such a good influence that she's actually evolving into being less aggressive and actually maybe understanding what it is to be nicer in terms of a human type dynamic. But it's the fact that Lawrence, he thinks long term. So the overall end result of this was we could have just killed all these people. We could have let this trading company go under. We get the realization that there's probably only about 100 gold in general in that bag, so even with the smuggling in and the value going up, it would have been just enough in order to basically save the company, which is why they had to be eliminated, because they would have had money to pay them. The idea that we get into this contract that we then end up selling to his pal, he gives him, I think he said like 30 something up front, and then in the future he'll get like another 100, but long term this guy will actually benefit as well. So it's one of those situations where it's like, okay, Lawrence gets some money to get himself out of debt. Perfect, that works. Also, there'll probably be some money in the future, but basically everyone's going to work out and win, because at the end of the day, Lawrence isn't just because he kind of gets it, right? He understands why shit happened the way it did. Doesn't make it right, but he understands. And that level head is clearly a very good influence on Holo, as seen by the fact that she didn't just go out of her way to, you know, kill everyone. I mean, at one point she's dragging that guy by the head and she smacks him a couple of times, and I was like, you know what, if she has to kill one of them, I'll allow it. But you just get a sense of like, you actually feel like they are a good influence on each other. I feel like Holo gives Lawrence a bit more of a bite, as seen by that interrogation scene, and I also feel like Lawrence gives Holo a bit more compassionate kind of sides to her, as seen by pretty much everything in this episode. But it was really nice though, the final moment, because what was it, like 3 episodes ago, when he was basically getting shook down about like, you know, why do you do all this for me? He's like, I just do it because I'm nice. And she's like, so it's not simply because like you care more about me? Like that was the whole point of that. They have another one of those conversations at the end where basically she's like, whose name did you call? And he tried to say, well, I probably called yours because it's easier. If there was a chair there, he would have been smacked in the head with that chair. That's all I'm saying. But it was nice to see that, you know, it's not just like an immediate like, I love you too. It's like the way they bond and they bicker, I legitimately do enjoy it. I do meme this show a lot, especially because she is a feisty girl, but I do stand by my statement, wolf girls are not the way IRL, but in terms of an anime, I absolutely love it. Just such a good episode, such a good arc, and I'm excited to see what they're going to do, because for me, I definitely think the Nora stuff was my favorite that I've seen out of this season, and I honestly think it's going to be hard for them to top the Nora arc for me personally. I'm welcome to be proven wrong, it's just this one really clicked with me, but hopefully this is just the start of good things to come. Now, of course, those are my feelings. Let me know what you thought, either if you're a fan of the original anime, you're a fan of the source material, or if you're anime original just like myself. What did you think, and how beautiful did you think this episode was? Because I thought it was freaking beautiful. Let me know down below. Be sure to leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new around here, of course, ring that bell, and like I mentioned, we got those full live reactions over on Patreon, and hey, while over there, I'll also give you a video shout out. So today we got Alyssum, Ert Swanson, Ike Ickley, Jan Peterson, Hune, Jamal, Roscoe, and Zeekster. So I appreciate the support, everyone. Please take care, and y'all have a good one.